Hello, greetings and welcome to the Engineering a Sustainable Food System webinar. We are very pleased that you are able to join us today as we recognize the World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development. The World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development is a special day to recognize the contribution of engineers to solving global issues across the world. And we see that's a very important day at IntelliDigest that we recognize the importance of engineering a sustainable food system through this webinar. So thank you very much for signing up for the webinar and joining us today. When we think about engineering, we usually think about building bridges, skyscrapers, and other large-scale projects. I'm Dr. Ifeyinwa Kanu. I'm the CEO of IntelliDigest. With a background in engineering, I understand the importance of taking a system thinking to addressing the challenges we have across the food system. Now, when we talk about challenges across the food system, what does it call to mind for us? We're looking at issues around over 900 million people suffering from hunger across the world. We're considering issues around obesity, where we know that over 1 billion people are currently faced with obesity issues. We're also looking at issues around soil degradation, where over 30% of the soil health is degraded. And we're also looking at issues where we're having massive increase in non-communicable diseases. So it's very important that as engineers, we can bring in system thinking to how we can improve the food system. Engineering the food system is crucial to delivering a sustainable food system that provides access to good food for more people, improving their health, and also restoring our environment. Engineering a sustainable food system involves establishing the infrastructure that support food production, processing, preservation, distribution, preparation, and also help to address issues that occur across the food system. And this can only be achieved by building an in-depth understanding of the chemical and physical properties of food, the effect of food processing on food quality and safety, and the design of food packaging and storage systems. All this needs to be factored in into how we can evolve and engineer systems that also work for us. Now, moving on, engineering a sustainable food system involves establishing the infrastructures that support food production, processing, preservation, distribution, preparation, and consumption. The food system is very complex, as you can see, and it depends on many different factors to work properly, including weather, prices differences, and consumer demand. Food is a very important aspect of our economy and the society. Food is central to human life, and it has always been a source of sustenance and pleasure. But more importantly, as we head towards 2050, our food system will need to supply safe, affordable, and nutritious food for over 9 billion people around the world. This demands that we reduce and optimize the use of resources such as energy, water, and land. In fact, many of the sustainability goals outlined in United Nations sustainable development goals actually are very much related to the food system. But it's concerning that the current food system are highly integrated and globalized and present a very low resiliency, which means that we are constantly faced with a lot of issues across the food system, having to sustain global stresses such as economic, political, and natural disruptions and disasters. So for us to ensure that we can address food insecurity and we can increase the resilience of our food system, especially as we build back better from COVID-19 and also understanding the challenges we faced in terms of the global supply chain within this period, it's important that we look into how we can develop those infrastructures that can enable us evolve such a resilient food system that ensures people have access to good food in a way that improves their health, restores our environment, and actually sustains food security. So for us to do this, is very important that we can explore solutions, especially innovative solutions that can help us address these complex challenges we have across the food system. And in doing this, we need to design more sustainable processes that uses less energy and uses also less water. We need to look into how we can improve the shelf life of products in a way that it doesn't really look at increasing the produce to be used for standard shelf life products, but looking at doing this sustainably in such a way that the focus is on ensuring that people have access to good food and where there is an excess of food. So we focus more on extended shelf life for the surplus produce rather than designing extended shelf life for new products. So one of the key challenges we have within the food system is where we have intensive agricultural processes that has been designed to supply the demand of extended shelf life produce, which then lacks the key nutrients that is essential for human well-being. So what about rethinking the system and rethinking the process where we focus on creating more localized, more healthy, more fresh produce to the populace, but looking at where there are excesses, that those excesses can then be processed and extend the shelf life so they can be used areas where they are needed. And I think this kind of system rethink is very important when we face this kind of global food system challenge, that we then start looking more inwards in terms of how do we strengthen, how do we make our local food systems more resilient in a way that we can support more localized production, more access to fresh produce. And this is not just about resilience of the food system, but also improving access to good food and good nutrition for the wider populace. So that's one aspect of what kind of systems and what kind of technologies, what kind of innovations will help us to deliver this. And when we talk about technology innovations, we also looking at process innovations and system innovations to enable us make this a reality. So aside developing this kind of system approach to rethinking the food system, and we really have talked about use of less energy and use of less water. How do we then evolve technology solutions that can help us deliver on use of less energy and use of less water? I think this can be achieved by more food-related businesses adopting renewable energy and also optimizing their processes. And optimizing processes can only come from an in-depth understanding of process and where it is important or where it is possible to cut down on energy requirements and optimize the process, and where those energy must be used, that we explore renewable energy sources such as solar power, solar powered system. We explore resources like wind, and we also explore resources like geothermal energy. I think this has got a lot of role to play in controlled environmental agriculture, that we are able to, because the nature of controlled environmental agriculture is that it's very much energy intensive. So if we could adopt and use more renewable energy in these processes, that would be quite useful. And also the wider activities we do within the food system, whether in terms of preserving or storing or processing, that we explore opportunities to reduce, optimize processes so that we remove any process that is energy intensive, and then explore other opportunities where we can use less energy. But we also talk about reducing energy. We're looking at, where we can reduce the use of thermal technologies and explore opportunities with UV lights and also ultrasound systems, where the comparative energy saving is there and also added value can be achieved. So these are the things we can achieve, knowing that the advances in technology is going to help us to move the needle massively. We also of importance is improvement of nutritional profile of foods, and how we can do this is actually increasing diversity in the food we eat. Currently, most are stable food items, with just about 5 of them. Talk about soya, maize, wheat, and rice, and these are the things that we currently have, high volume of that, and most of these have been massively genetically modified. And there's been a lot of research coming out highlighting the health implication and health impact and allergy impact of this massively genetically modified produce. And the key aim now is, rather than trying to focus on these 5 stable crops, but looking wider and seeing that a lot of diversity in different produce, in different crops that we can bring into the food system. And also looking also into how we rear our livestock. How can we improve the health and the quality of the livestock that we have, without necessarily having to grow a lot of this genetically modified produce to feed them on that. Especially moving away from a lot of intensive farming systems and moving more into agroforestry, where you can actually integrate livestock production with a lot of the crops, which can be connected with that. And also looking at how you can improve on crop rotation and mixed cropping around vegetable crops and fruit crops. I think a lot of work is being done in that area now. And where the technology comes in here is looking at how omics analysis, bioinformatics, when we talk about genomics, metabolomics, can we use it for exploring and identifying those crops that got better traits that we can use, rather than focusing the use of these advanced technologies in genetic modification. Can we also adapt it in selecting traits that are better and can improve the health of people, and also the species of different crops that can better be used in mixed cropping and crop rotation, in a way that we can improve yield, also improve pest resistance, so we can manage pests more effectively, rather than using pesticides, which means that integrated pest management can become a reality in our time, and we can actually cut down on a lot of the chemicals we use in food production. I think adopting technology innovation in this respect, especially with advanced bioinformatics and omics analysis, we go a long way to improving the quality of the produce that we get from the farm. And this ultimately will also improve the shelf life of the produce, and also improve access to nutrition to more people. So, adopting technology in this way has got a massive advantage for the future. Another thing is looking at how we can design production systems, both from production to distribution to consumption, in a way that reduces supply chain challenges, but also ensures that more people have access to good food. There can be policy issues that will help to drive this and make it work, especially where government will take on the responsibility that new developments should have created within those development areas for food production, while also ensuring that our rural areas are further engaged in agroforestry, as well as also agrotourism, in a way that also builds capacity within this region, without taking away their key source of revenue. Like I said initially at my start, the food system has got a lot to do with our health and well-being as a society, as a cultural being, as well as also within the economic, micro and macroeconomics of the wider society. So whatever we develop within the food system should be able to accommodate this different aspect of the food system. And I think a lot of these technologies we talk about in terms of quantum computing, IoT, artificial intelligence, data analysis, green chemistry, and omics analysis, I've dwelled on it so much, will have massive impact in the way we produce food for the future. But I think if we need to adopt these technologies within the food system, we need to take a holistic and a sustainable approach to it, to make sure that it improves our health and well-being. It ensures that more people have access to good food in a way that improves their health, without necessarily impacting negatively on the environment. So I'm hoping that this gives you some idea and some thinking about how the food system may be, developing for the future. And hopefully, I'm very glad that we are constantly engaging with different researchers and also engaging with young people who are keen to drive changes within the food system so that we can continuously support them. And I'm pleased to have that a lot of the global agri-food techpreneurs are on this program. Part of what we do with global agri-food techpreneur program is to highlight this changes within the food system, work with different stakeholders to support them as they make changes within their countries and within the food system. So I'm very pleased to introduce the Global Agri-Food Techpreneur participants for the 2024 cohort while I round off my presentation. So I think in a nutshell, this presentation is geared towards stimulating our thinking around what technology can do within the food system and how technology can help us to deliver a sustainable food system. And for us, we're very pleased to be working at the forefront of cutting edge research within the food system. But we are very keen to also ensure that whatever the developments that is evolving would be developed in such a way that it adds value to the society. It also adds value, especially in terms of nutritional value for consumers, for households who are going to take up this food produce. And more importantly, is also helping people rethink the way they engage with food, and also understanding that the little things we can do, even if it's just planning our meal and working with other stakeholders across the food system, we go a long way to ensuring that we can evolve a food system that really delivers on sustainability and helps more people have access to good food. So